You know how sometimes you make one bad call and it just messes with you afterward? Yeah, that was me in the Starlight Motel, room 107. Seriously, locking my bedroom door now. It's like a whole thing for me because of that night. It didn't start out crazy or anything, just me being dead tired and taking the first dump I saw. Man, I was beat. Like 12 hours on the road, eyes burning, brain completely fried. The caffeine buzz had crashed hours ago. It started drizzling. The highway looked all smeary, and my phone, totally useless. No signal for like the last hour. I was this close to just pulling over and sleeping in the car. But man, I wanted a real bed, you know? Even a questionable one. Then I saw it. This flickering neon sign barely cutting through the rain. Starlight Motel. Their vacancy sign underneath had a letter burned out. Looked like BC and CY. Classy. It wasn't exactly screaming, "Welcome home," stuck off this beat up exit ramp that looked like it hadn't seen pavement repairs since forever. But hey, it was a place. Relief hit me hard. Probably shouldn't have in hindsight. Whatever, any port in a storm. I pulled in. Place looked ancient. Seriously old. Typical L-shaped motel layout. Paint peeling. Rusty railings. Just a couple of lonely cars scattered around the lot. I parked near the office, got out, and the air just felt damp and cold. Smelled like wet pine trees and asphalt with this weird metallic undertone. Like rusty pipes maybe, and it was quiet. Like too quiet. Only sound was the drizzle and this low humming noise I couldn't quite place. Felt heavy, you know? The office door creaked open and hit me with this blast of stale smoke and pine sol. Behind the counter, this guy basically materialized out of the shadows. Super skinny, slicked back gray hair shining under the buzzing fluorescent light. His eyes were dark and kind of sunken, and he just stared at me. Like, really stared. No smile, nothing. Room. His voice was all raspy, like crunching leaves. "Yeah, please." "Just for tonight," I said, trying to sound normal. He shoved this nasty-looking registration card at me without even looking down. I scribbled some fake info, just a habit I have traveling alone. His eyes stayed locked on my face the whole time. Felt like I was being sized up or something. 107, he finally said, grabbing a key off a hook. Big plastic diamond keychain, all scratched up. End of the hall, second floor. Stairs are round back. He told me the price. Way cheaper than I expected. Cash only. Fine. I paid, just wanting to get away from his creepy stare. As I was leaving, he mumbled, "Chain lock's busted on that one. Deadbolt works fine though. Mostly." Then he gave this tiny little smirk that wasn't friendly at all. Great. Just freaking great. I mumbled, "Thanks," and got out of there. That weird metallic smell seeming even stronger now. The metal stairs out back were slick and groaned like they were about to collapse. The second floor walkway was dark, long shadows everywhere between the dim bug zapper looking lights. Room 107 was way down at the very end, totally isolated, looking out over nothing but dark woods. The key scraped and fought me for a second before the lock finally clicked open. I pushed the door in, and this wave of cold, musty air hit me. Okay, so the room was rough, like really rough. Nasty brown shag carpet, bedspread with these faded, weird flowers, ceiling tiles all stained, like maybe the roof leaked bad at some point. Everything felt kind of damp. Smelled like dust and mildew, plus that faint metallic tongue again. Maybe just iron in the water? God, I hope so. First thing, I checked the door. Yep, chain lock was snapped, just dangling there uselessly. The deadbolt, though, it slid home with a solid thunk. Okay, felt a little better. For a minute. I dropped my bag, exhaustion just slamming into me. All I wanted was sleep, but The room just felt off, not just old and run down, but like it was watching me. Maybe it was the single dirty window looking out at those dark trees, or how the corner seemed extra shadowy. Or maybe it was the only picture in the room, this old framed print over the bed, some country scene, but the people painted in it, their smiles were just a little too wide, a little too fixed. Creepy. Tried the main light switch. Click. Click. Nothing. Bedside lamp? Dead too. Only light that worked was the harsh fluorescent one in the tiny bathroom, casting these long weird shadows back into the bedroom. Awesome. Stuck in this dump with either bathroom light or... That's when I saw it. Plugged into an outlet low on the wall near the bed, glowing this faint, pulsing green, was a cheap plastic nightlight, shaped like a little cartoon ghost. Big black eyes, O-shaped mouth like it was screaming silently. And it was humming that same low buzz I heard outside. It felt so random, so out of place, and just really, really weird. Seriously, who puts a ghost nightlight in a motel room? And why the humming? I tried yanking it out of the wall. I just wanted total darkness. But the thing was jammed in tight, wouldn't budge. Whatever. Too tired to care anymore. I changed quick, climbed onto the squeaky bed, pulled up the thin blanket. That green glow made creepy shape dance on the ceiling. Sleep wasn't happening now. My ears were suddenly on high alert, picking up the ghost's hum, the drip, drip, drip from the bathroom faucet. I must have dozed off though, because the sound jolted me awake. A soft scraping noise, metal on metal, right outside my door. My eyes flew open, heart hammering. I froze, straining to hear over the hum from the nightlight. There it was again. Scrape. Pause. Scrape. Like someone dragging a key, maybe something sharper, across the lock plate, testing it, trying to jimmy it open. Adrenaline surged through me. I held my breath, listening hard. The scraping stopped. Silence. Just dead silence. Felt like I couldn't breathe. Then I felt it more than heard it, soft pressure on the doorknob. It turned, slow, deliberate, until it hit the deadbolt and stopped. My breath caught in my throat. Whoever was out there knew the chain lock was busted. They were testing the deadbolt, the only thing keeping them out. My mind was racing. Was it the creepy manager? So I guessed. Someone who saw me pull in alone? The knob rattled gently, like they were checking how solid it was. Then, silence again. Did they give up? Did they leave? I didn't move a muscle, barely breathed. Felt like forever passed. Just me, the humming nightlight, and my heart pounding like crazy. Then, footsteps. Soft. Slow. Right outside my door. They stopped right there. I swear, I could almost feel someone standing on the other side of that thin door, leaning close, listening. Were they listening for me? Did they know I was awake? I squeezed my eyes shut, like that would help. Finally, the footsteps moved away, soft and slow, down the walkway until I couldn't hear them anymore. I let out this shaky breath I didn't even know I was holding. But I wasn't relieved, just terrified. They knew I was in here. They tested the lock, and they left. Why? Were they coming back? With tools? With help? No way I was sleeping now. I slid off the bed, tiptoed to the door, pressed my ear against it. Nothing, just the faint sound of traffic on the highway way off, and that damn humming nightlight. I dragged the room's only chair, this rickety wooden thing, and jammed it under the doorknob. Didn't feel like much, but it was something. I spent the rest of the night sitting on the edge of the bed, fully dressed, just staring at the door, jumping at every creak the old building made, every gust of wind. That little green ghost hummed on, its stupid cartoon face almost looking like it was laughing at me. The second I saw a gray light coming through the window, I was up, grabbing my stuff. Didn't even think about checking out at the office. I just tossed the key back into the room onto the nasty carpet and bolted. Ran to my car, didn't look back once as I peeled out of there. Drove for like an hour straight before I felt okay enough to stop for coffee. Still shaking. Never found out who was messing with my door they wanted. But ever since then, hearing a doorknob turn late at night, or even just the hum of electronics in the dark, brings it all right back. And yeah, checking locks, definitely my thing now. Always, twice. That definitely happened to me at the Sleepy Haven Motel. Huh, Haven, right. I heard way more than I ever wanted to coming from the room next door. Still makes my skin crawl, thinking about it. This place was seriously in the middle of nowhere. I had taken a wrong turn trying a scenic route that turned out to be mostly just deserted highway and dying little towns. Miles from anywhere, sun going down, gas tank getting nervous. The Sleepy Haven popped up like a mirage, except way grubbier. Peeling paint, flickering sign, gravel parking lot, mostly weeds. Looked like maybe 3 other cars were there, max. Check-in was weirdly quick. The lady behind the counter barely looked up from her crossword puzzle, just took my cash, slid a key across, and grunted, "Number 5. Didn't ask for ID. Didn't care about my license plate. Kinda felt like she just wanted me gone so she could get back to her puzzle. Fine by me, I guess." Room 5 was at the far end, naturally. It was basic. And I mean basic? Concrete block walls painted that depressing beige color, thin brown carpet, a bed that looked suspicious, and a TV bolted to the wall that probably only got static. Smelled like old dust and maybe Lysol from 10 years ago. But the worst part, the walls. You could tell they were thin, like really thin. I could hear the plumbing gurgle from somewhere down the line clear as day. I dropped my stuff, locked the flimsy door, and sat on the edge of the bed for a minute, trying to decide if I had the energy to find food or just crash. That's when I first heard it. From room 6, the room right next door, muffled voices. Sounded like an argument, maybe. A man and a woman. Couldn't make out words, just the angry, choppy rhythm of it. Okay, whatever. People fight. It's a cheap motel, happens all the time. I tried to ignore it, dug out my phone. No signal, of course. Perfect. The arguing next door got louder for a minute, then stopped abruptly. Silence, then a weird noise. A sort of heavy dragging sound started up, like they were scraping furniture across the floor and occasionally bumping it against something. This went on intermittently for a few minutes. What were they doing in there? Rearranging the whole room at like 9 o'clock at night? It was unsettling. Then just as suddenly it stopped. Complete silence again. Way more unnerving than the arguing. Somehow. I waited, listening hard. Nothing. Just the hum of the ancient 8C unit kicking on and off. Maybe they just moved the bed. I tried to rationalize it. But it felt weird. I finally decided sleep was the priority, changed, and crawled into the bed. It sagged way too much in the middle. I turned off the light, leaving the bathroom light on with the door cracked, just because the room felt extra dark. Just as I was drifting off, I heard another sound from room 6. It was tapping. A light, rhythmic tapping on the shared wall between our rooms. It wasn't loud, just this persistent beat, a few taps, then a pause, then a few more taps right near where my head was on the pillow. My eyes snapped open. What the hell? Was that for me? Or were they hanging a picture? At this hour? I held my breath, listening. The tapping continued for a moment, then stopped. Silence. Then a muffled sob. Sounded like the woman. Just one short, choked off sob. Then silence again. Okay, now I was officially creeped out. What was going on next door? The arguing, the dragging furniture, the weird tapping, the crying. It painted a really ugly picture in my head. Should I call the front desk? But what would I say? My neighbors are being weird. The lady didn't seem like she'd care much. Should I bang on the wall? Hell no. Didn't want them knowing I could hear them. Didn't want to get involved. I just lay there rigid, listening. For maybe an hour, nothing. Just silence. Maybe they'd gone to sleep. Then came the worst sound. A low, steady humming. It sounded like the man's voice, deep and monotonous. He was just humming the same 2 or 3 notes over and over. It vibrated through the thin wall, right into my ear. It wasn't loud, but it was constant, inescapable, and unbelievably creepy. Like something someone does when they're focused, or trying not to think, or maybe trying to cover other sounds. I couldn't take it. I slid out of bed, grabbed my pillow and a thin blanket, and basically made a nest in the farthest corner of the room, on the floor, putting the flimsy chair between me and that wall. Ridiculous, I know, but I just couldn't lie there listening to that humming. It went on for what felt like hours, never changing pitch, never stopping, just that low, constant drone through the wall. I didn't sleep a wink. My mind kept inventing horrible scenarios for what might be happening in room 6. The humming finally stopped sometime before dawn, just faded out. The silence that followed felt almost worse. I waited until the sun was fully up, light streaming through the gaps in the crappy curtains. I'd packed my stuff faster than I ever have, unlocked the door, peeked out. Hallway was empty. I practically sprinted to my car. As I drove past room 6, the curtains were drawn tight. Looked just like any other shabby motel room door. No sign of life. I didn't stop until I was miles away, back on a main highway with actual phone signal. I never called the police or anything. What proof did I have? Just weird noises through a thin wall. But I swear I can still hear that creepy humming sometimes when it's too quiet. Never staying in a motel with walls that thin again, ever. I always pull the curtains tight in hotel rooms now. Like, really tight, check for gaps and everything. Ever since that place off Route 9. God, what was it called? The Pinecone Inn, maybe. Doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling I had there. Like someone was always watching, just outside. It was another one of those long drives, cutting through a part of the state that was mostly forest and not much else. Found this place tucked back off the road. Looked kinda cute from a distance. Log cabin style construction, trying for that rustic charm. The parking lot was pretty empty. Maybe 4 or 5 cars spread out. I got a room on the ground floor, towards the back, facing the woods. Seemed peaceful at first. The room itself was fine, clean enough, a bit dated, but whatever. Wood paneling everywhere. Big window looking straight into the dense pine trees just beyond the small patch of grass behind the motel. It was getting dark, so I flicked on the lights, dumped my bag. First thing I did, like always, was check the locks. Standard deadbolt, chain lock. Seemed okay. I went to pull the curtains, thick, heavy things, and hesitated for a second, looking out at the woods. It was properly dark out there now. Trees packed close together, looked like a black wall. Thought I saw something move way back between the trees. Probably just a deer, right? This was the woods after all. Still, gave me a little shiver. I pulled the curtains shut tight, making sure they overlapped in the middle. Went and grabbed some dinner from a diner I'd passed a few miles back. Got back to the motel maybe around 9:30. Parking lot was still pretty empty. As I was walking towards my room, I got this prickly feeling on the back of my neck, like I was being watched. I stopped, looked around slowly. Nothing obvious. Just the other parked cars gleaming under the few security lights. The dark woods surrounding everything. The doors to the other rooms all shut tight. Probably just nerves being alone out here. Got inside, locked the door again, double-checked the chain, settled down to watch some TV, but I couldn't shake that feeling. Kept glancing towards the window, even though the curtains were closed. Felt exposed somehow. The room was quiet except for the TV. Too quiet. Maybe an hour later, I muted the TV during a commercial break, and I heard it. A soft crunching sound, like footsteps on gravel or dry leaves, right outside my window. My heart jumped. I killed the TV remote, sat dead, still, listening. The sound continued, slow footsteps crunching back and forth. It sounded close. Who would be walking around back there, right by my window, in the dark? There was no path back there, just grass and then the woods. Could it be another guest? Why would they be lurking behind the rooms? The footsteps stopped, right outside my window. I imagined someone standing there, inches away on the other side of the glass and curtain, maybe looking at the window. Listening? I didn't make a sound, didn't even breathe. Felt like, after maybe 30 seconds of total silence, felt like 10 minutes, the footsteps started again. Moving away, back towards the side of the building or the parking lot, fading out. Okay, deep breaths. Maybe it was just another guest, lost looking for their room, or taking a smoke break somewhere weird. Had to be something normal. But the feeling of being watched didn't go away. It was worse now. I kept the TV on low all night, muting the noise. Every little sound from outside, a twig snapping, the wind rustling leaves, made me jump. I definitely didn't peek through the curtains. No way. Didn't want to see if someone was actually out there looking back. Sometime after midnight, nature called. Had to use the bathroom. The bathroom window was small, high up, frosted glass. But as I was in there, I heard footsteps again. The same slow crunching sound coming from the back of the motel. They passed by the bathroom window. I could hear the distinct crunch of each step for a second, and then faded as they moved towards my main room window again. I finished up quick, heart pounding, went back into the main room. Stood there in the dark, listening. Nothing. Silence. Had they stopped outside my window again? Were they just standing there, waiting? Why? This wasn't random. Someone was deliberately walking around back there, focusing on my room. I felt like a bug in a jar. I thought about calling the front desk, but again, what do you say? I think someone's walking outside my window. They'd think I was crazy or drunk. I considered just packing up and leaving right then, middle of the night. But the thought of walking out to my car, potentially with someone lurking in the shadows, felt even scarier than staying locked inside. So I stayed put. Didn't sleep much, obviously. Just sat in the chair facing the door, listening. The footsteps didn't come back again that I heard, but the feeling of being watched, it never left. It was like a physical pressure against the window and door. First light, I was out of there. Packed in record time, checked the peephole, unlocked the door, and made a beeline for my car. Scanning the parking lot the whole time, nothing seemed out of place. No weird figures lurking. Got in, locked the doors, started the engine. As I was pulling out, I glanced back at my room window. The heavy curtains were still drawn tight, but I swear, for just a split second, I thought I saw the edge of one curtain twitch, just a little, like someone had been looking out. Probably just my imagination running wild after a paranoid night. Yeah, had to be, but still, no. Curtains get pulled tight, first thing, every time. People leave the strangest things behind in motel rooms sometimes. It's usually just junk, maybe a phone charger, a sock, normal stuff. But what I found under the bed at the dusty trail end, yeah, that wasn't normal. Still gives me the creeps thinking about who stayed in that room before me. This place was classic, middle of nowhere, Arizona. Hot, dusty. Tumbleweeds probably wouldn't look out of place. The dusty trail end was just this low, flat building painted a faded turquoise, sign buzzing like a dying fly. Looked like it hadn't seen many guests lately. I was driving cross country, bone tired, just needed a few hours of sleep before hitting the road again. Clerk was an old guy who seemed half asleep himself. Gave me a key to room 3. The room smelled like stale air and faint chemical cleaner. It was basic, but seemed clean enough on the surface. Linoleum floor, couple of hard chairs, bed with a thin, scratchy blanket. Air conditioner rattled like crazy, but blew cold air. Thank God. I tossed my bag on the bed, kicked off my shoes. Felt something slide under the bed when my shoe hit the floor. Probably just kicked my own shoe under there. I figured. Went to grab it and saw something else pushed way back against the wall, almost hidden in the shadows under the bed frame. Looked like a small box, cardboard, maybe a shoebox size. Curiosity got the better of me. I crouched down, reached under, and pulled it out. Yeah, it was a shoebox. Plain brown cardboard, no label. Lid was taped shut with dusty masking tape. It felt heavy for a shoebox. What would someone leave behind taped shut under a motel bed? Drugs? Money? Weird porn? My mind started buzzing. Should I just leave it? Call the front desk? Nah. The old guy looked like he wouldn't care less. Should I open it? Okay, yeah, I had to open it. Carefully peeled back the old, brittle tape, lifted the lid. Inside wasn't what I expected at all. It was packed tight with stuff. Weird stuff. Neatly arranged. On top was a spiral notebook, the cheap kind you get for school. Flipped it open. It was filled, cover to cover, with handwriting. Tight, cramped, angry-looking scrawl. And it was intense. I started reading bits and pieces. It wasn't a diary, not really. It was more like rants, paranoid stuff. About being followed, watched, people listening through the walls. Codes hidden in TV static, seeing patterns in license plates. Stuff about them and their signals. It felt frantic, obsessive. The handwriting got messy and more agitated towards the end pages. Last page just had one sentence, written huge, pressing hard into the paper. They found me here. Okay. Major chills now. This wasn't just weird. It felt genuinely disturbing. Like reading the thoughts of someone seriously unraveling. Who wrote this? And why leave it taped up under the bed? Did they really find them? What happened? Under the notebook was more stuff. A weird collection of small objects, laid out carefully on top of folded clothes. There were like a dozen bottle caps, all different kinds, arranged in a circle. A handful of smooth, gray stones. A couple of dead batteries. That's a single tarnished silver earring. A laminated photo, wallet-sized, of a blurry landscape. Just trees and maybe a bit of sky. Impossible to tell where it was. And several small, folded pieces of paper, like notes. I unfolded one note, just numbers written on it. A long string of them, no spaces, no commas. Another note had a crude drawing, looked kind of like a map, but with weird symbols instead of street names. A third note just said, Listen to the wires in the same cramped handwriting as the notebook. What the hell? This was like something out of a movie. The clothes underneath were just basic stuff. A couple of t-shirts, jeans, socks. Looked like men's clothes. Maybe size large. Nothing fancy. Nothing distinctive. Just clothes. Like someone packed a bug-out bag, but only with the essentials in their paranoia kit. I sat there on the floor, staring into this box of unsettling junk. This wasn't just forgotten stuff. This felt deliberately hidden. Like the person knew they had to leave it, maybe couldn't take it with them. Or maybe they wanted someone to find it, a warning, a cry for help. They found me here, line echoed in my head. Suddenly, the cheap motel room felt way different. It wasn't just shabby anymore. It felt tainted. Like the desperation and fear from that notebook were soaked into the walls. Who was the person who slept in this bed before me? What were they running from? Was it real? Or all in their head? Did something bad happen to them in this room? I looked around nervously. Checked the window lock, eyed the door, listened for noises outside. Nothing. Just the rattle of the ack and the buzz of the sign outside. But now the silence felt heavy, charged. Felt like I'd stumbled onto something I shouldn't have. What should I do with the box? Leave it. Take it to the police? Throw it out? I couldn't just leave it there for the next person to find. And taking it felt wrong. Like taking on someone else's bad juju. In the end, I did something maybe stupid. I put everything back in the box, exactly as I found it. Taped it shut again with the old tape. Shoved it back under the bed, deep into the shadows where I found it. Maybe it was better left undisturbed. A secret between me, the room, and whoever wrote that desperate notebook. I barely slept. Kept thinking about the box, the notebook, the weird little objects. Every noise outside made me jump. Felt like maybe they were still around, listening. Checked out super early the next morning, didn't even make eye contact with the sleepy clerk. Just wanted to put the dusty trail in and its secrets behind me. But I still wonder about that box sometimes. Who was they? And what happened to the person who was so sure they'd been found? Most motel clerks couldn't care less when you check in. They just want your money and for you to disappear. But the folks at the cozy corner inn were different, too different. Made my internal alarm bells go off right away. I'd been driving through pouring rain for hours. Felt like I was piloting a submarine. Pulled off the highway looking for anywhere dry. The cozy corner looked okay. Small. Maybe a dozen rooms. Neat little flower boxes under the windows. Office light was on. Looked warm inside. Stepped in, shaking off rain like a wet dog. Behind the counter were this couple, probably in their late 50s or early 60s. Both smiling these huge, bright smiles. Like game show host smiles. Well, hello there, dearie. The woman chirped. She had bright pink lipstick and big curly gray hair. Come on and out of that nasty weather. Terrible night for driving, isn't it? The man, shorter, bald, wearing a bright yellow cardigan despite the warmth inside, nodded eagerly. Terrible. Lucky you found us. We've got a nice, warm room all ready for you. His smile was just as wide, maybe wider. It felt practiced. Yeah, thanks. Just need a room for the night, I said, taken aback by the sheer wattage of their friendliness. Just one night? The woman asked, her smile faltering just a tiny bit. Oh, pity. We were hoping you'd stay longer. This rain's supposed to keep up for a couple of days, you know? Not good driving weather at all. Yeah, well, gotta keep moving, I mumbled, already feeling weird. Where are you headed, dearie? She pressed, leaning over the counter slightly. Anywhere nice? Just west, I said vaguely, not wanting to give details. Why did they care? West. Lovely. The man chimed in. But you know, the pass over the mountains can get real tricky in this rain. Real tricky. Maybe stay an extra day. Just to be safe? We make wonderful pancakes in the morning. He winked. A big slow wink. Okay, this was officially strange. They were laying it on thick. Most places couldn't care less if you stayed one night or 10. These two seemed personally invested in keeping me here. Red flag number 1. Thanks, but I'll be fine, I said firmly, pulling out my wallet. They finally processed the check-in, still beaming, asking little questions. Was I traveling alone? Was I tired? Did I need anything? Anything at all? Just let them know. The woman, Martha, handed me the key to room 8. It's right down there, dear. Nice and quiet. And remember, breakfast is from 7 to 9. Don't be shy. I backed out of the office, feeling their smiles follow me. The rain was still coming down hard. Got to room 8, unlocked it. The room was fine, surprisingly clean, if a little fussy. Lace doilies on the nightstands, floral wallpaper. Felt like staying at Grandma's house if Grandma had slightly creepy vibes. Locked the door, slid the chain across, peered out the peephole back towards the office. The light was still on. Could almost imagine them standing there, still smiling. Shook my head. Maybe they were just lonely, overly hospitable, trying too hard in a slow season. Gotta be a normal explanation. Tried to relax, watch some TV. About an hour later, there was a soft knock on the door. Just 3 distinct soft knocks. My heart jumped. Who would be knocking? I wasn't expecting anyone. I crept to the door, looked through the peephole. It was Martha, the woman from the office, holding a small plate covered with plastic wrap. Still smiling that huge smile. I hesitated, then cracked the door open, leaving the chain on. Everything okay? I asked. Oh, just fine, dearie. She chirped, maybe even louder than before. Just thought you might be hungry. I baked some cookies earlier, still warm. Thought you might like a little treat after your long drive. She held up the plate. Chocolate chip cookies, looked normal enough. Oh, thanks. That's really nice of you, I said, still weirded out. No trouble at all. She beamed. You just looked so tired when you came in. Poor thing, all alone on the road. Need anything else? Extra towels? Pillow? Just let us know. We're right here in the office. She lingered for a beat too long, her eyes scanning past me into the room. Then she smiled again, handed me the plate through the crack, and bustled off back towards the office. I closed the door, locked it again, stared at the cookies. They smelled good, but why? Bringing cookies to a random guest room late at night? It felt like another attempt to be overly nice, overly involved. Like they were trying to establish some kind of connection, maybe make me feel obligated. I put the cookies on the dresser, uneaten. Didn't trust them. Couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about this place, about them. Their smiles felt like masks. Why were they so eager for me to stay? Why so interested in a random traveler? It wasn't normal hospitality. It felt possessive almost. Like they collected guests. Didn't sleep well. Kept hearing the rain hammering down, imagining them watching my door from the office window. Left before 7, skipped the wonderful pancakes. Dropped the key in a drop box outside the office, didn't want to face those smiles again. As I pulled out of the parking lot, the office door opened. Martha and the man stood there in the doorway, side by side. They weren't smiling now. Just watching me drive away, their faces blank, unreadable in the gray morning light. That lack of a smile was almost creepier than the constant beaming had been. Felt like I'd escaped something. Don't know what, exactly. But I was glad to be back on the road. away from the cozy corner and its two friendly keepers. Sometimes normal, indifferent motel clerks are a blessing, you know?